Welcome to Your Brand Amplified, the podcast where we interview marketers, publicists, and brands to learn their stories, what makes them tick, and tips and tricks that make a difference. My interview with Wayne Altman of Melody Clouds, this has been in the works since October of last year. So I am so thrilled to finally have you on the show, Wayne. Thank you so much for being here.
Look, the pleasure is mine. You're right. The anticipation, we've been in contact for a little bit. I am extremely excited to get to talk to you. So thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Your energy is just amazing. So I'm here for it. Now, you're the entrepreneur and founder of Melody Clouds. Before we get into that, you have multiple businesses online right now. You work in a lot of different fields. You've also been in the military. Mm-hmm. Talk about your
journey. I spent 8 years in the Army, best years of my life so far. I mean, I'm still trying to top that. I loved it. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Desert Storm, from going in the military. Really, I owe my time in the service for Melody Clouds to begin with. I have tinnitus ringing in the ear from all the gunfire and explosions I was exposed to. I don't hear silence. Even now, while we're talking, I hear this whooshing, and a lot of your listeners hear it too. And so when someone introduced me to binaural beats, that's when I was like, okay, wait a minute, this is something cool. So spent 8.5 years in the Army. I've written 6 books. A little bit of energy. I got a lot to pack in.
Definitely have a lot of energy. So the books are on a variety of topics, because I think I saw you had a book about finance and wealth. So, so did you go in the military right after high school?
I didn't. I went into cooking school. I went to cooking school for a couple of years, and my instructors were constantly sweating in my food and screaming at me. And I was like, wait a minute, I want to be a chef. I love cooking. I still love cooking. I want to be a chef. I'm not here for you to, just scream at me.
Wow.
Which was interesting, because when I went in the Army, when I was in basic training, they thought I was like impaired somehow because I was smiling. I was happy to be there. I was always so happy to be there. I'm like, look, you guys got a lot to learn from the cooking school. If you want me to be annoyed with you, you got a lot to learn from the cooking school I just showed up from. But here's the thing. And this is what a lot of people miss. I wrote books not because I'm an expert on a subject. I wrote books to become an expert on a subject. When you write a book, there's a lot of research that goes into writing that book, if it's going to be a good book. So that was my opportunity to say, hey, I really want to know intimately how credit works for the individual, because we don't get taught that in school here in the U.S.
No, we do not.
It's illegal.
Well, not only do we not get taught it, but when people come to the United States, they don't get taught that as part of their green card or whatever process they're going through. My family is an immigrant family. My mom's from Thailand. She came here for college. A lot of the other family followed. But I'm seeing it's a big issue among immigrant populations, on top of the fact that we don't get taught in the school if you are, going through school in the United States either. So it's astronomical.
Which it's sad for a number of reasons. And the biggest reason, I think, is because people would be so much more patriotic and appreciative of the United States if they knew how and why we have the credit laws here they do not have anywhere else.
Right.
And I mean nowhere else do they have credit laws like we do here. You said it. Immigrants come to this country and they go, wait, this is why you're called the land of opportunity, because other people can invest in your success.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to express that. I wanted to show my appreciation by telling people, look, this is how awesome you have it. This is how special a place you happen to live. And so far, the success of that book, the things that people have expressed to me, I've done that. So, humbled by it.
Amazing. Okay, wait. So you went from cooking school to the military.
Yep.
While you're in the military, the best years of your life, you got tinnitus.
Yep.
But then you were in the military for 8 years, and then you left and you started all these entrepreneurship journeys. What point did that start affecting your work?
The whole time. Listen, it affected relationships. I'm 70% deaf. You probably have noticed I kind of yell things at people, people who are just meeting me go, God, that guy's intense. I don't hear myself the way everybody, sadly, everyone else hears me, right? So it really affected even relationships. I mean, to this day, my wife and I love my wife dearly. We cannot watch television or movies together because I need it louder. She needs it to be way quieter. I can't hear what's going on. I have to ask her throughout the entire movie, hey, what's happening here?
And there's no solution. Like hearing aids are not going to help.
So I had hearing aids for a long time and wore them. Most people get hearing aids. They don't want to wear them. I was like, give me those. And I wore them for a long time, 3 or 4 years, and they work great. About 2 years ago, we moved houses and somehow those hearing aids got misplaced somewhere in that move. And I'm just at a point now where I really do need to replace them, Yeah.
But in the meantime, so you're going on this journey, it's affecting your daily life. It's affecting your ability to be effective through your 100% like capability in all of your business ventures.
Yeah.
Which I want to get into as well. I know entrepreneurs, we tend to have a little bit of that crazy gene of like, yes, we have all these different ideas and we want to do all of them at once. So I think I see some of that in you with all of your energy and all these ideas that you have.
Oh, for sure.
Things that you want to do.
Yeah.
But then you discovered binaural beats.
Yeah, I had a very good friend of mine, an even better friend now, knew that I had trouble hearing and knew that the tinnitus or tinnitus was pretty bad for me, and called me over and we were having a couple drinks. And he says, hey, listen, I want to play some music for you. Put headphones on, which I normally don't do. I jealously guard what hearing I have left. And I would urge everyone that's listening to this to guard your hearing very jealously. Anyway, he played a track of music and it was kind of woo-woo. It was, and I'm not that guy. No woo-woo here. Then he played another track and still that one was a little more woo-woo than the first track, but still I couldn't see what the problem was. The third track he played for me, though, impacted my life in a way that is now impacting hundreds of thousands of people across the world. And I'll tell you why, because when he played that third track, I got silence. I heard nothing.
Wow.
And I haven't heard nothing in 30 years. So I was like, whoa, what's that? He goes, oh, got it. You got it. And he had to sit down and explain to me about binaural beats. And then I learned about solfeggio frequencies. And I realized that, you ever heard of the term, oh, they're in the zone, he's in the zone, she's in the zone? It turns out the zone is a real place and you can go to that zone anytime you want. Look, I don't do every single thing for every one of my businesses, but I'm able to manage because of technology and because of being able to focus on tasks that I need to be able to focus on. Then you're able to start building your little empire.
Yeah.
One of those things that I learned about really, really successful people, they are able to focus. The rest of us, you don't see Elon Musk scattered or Jeff Bezos. You don't see them running around scattered, barking out orders. No. They are very focused, compartmentalized. And that's really what I have found to be the key to my success. The successes that I've been able to have been because I've been able to now really focus. I wish I had this way sooner.
Yeah.
I will tell you that things would be a lot different for the bald guy. It would be way different.
Well, so break it down a little bit because you mentioned a couple of concepts and I will say I am a little woo-woo. I like EFT tapping. I like to look at like every modality I can use, whether it's praying and God or whether it is listening to subliminals while I sleep or starting my morning with an affirmation or meditation that will just get me thinking about how I want my day to go. I find this to be really effective, which is why I was really excited about getting into this. And because I think this concept for people's daily lives, as you mentioned, but also your businesses, helping create that zone and focus. So can you talk to us a little bit about, you mentioned certain sound frequency, I think.
Let me explain. It would probably be helpful if I explain how binaural beats work.
Yes.
And then we'll go to solfeggio. But here's how binaural beats work. Okay, so let's say that you are in a certain mood or you're unfocused. Your brain operates on electrical charges, electrical signals. Those frequencies really are the manifestation of how your brain is communicating. Okay, so let's say that you're upset, but you don't want to be. So you need to change the frequency of those thoughts.
Okay.
They are easy to measure with an EEG, and they are easy to manipulate if you use a binaural beat. And here's how it works. One frequency goes in one ear, one frequency goes in the other ear. That's binaural. Okay, so two ears, different frequencies, two ears. Your brain cannot handle two frequencies, so it splits the difference and makes a third frequency and starts communicating at that frequency.
Okay.
Every single one of us has taken a road trip, turned the radio on, and got really excited because a song we love evokes a memory, right? That's my jam. How many times have you heard that? Okay. That is music's ability to change our mood. Change our thoughts, change our feelings, right? You watch a movie, you're watching the film on the screen, but it's the music, the background track that is actually doing the manipulation of how you feel about those images. So there's no woo-woo in any of that. That's science.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, I'm not using the term woo-woo as a pejorative anyway. There are people that believe in science and they're very strict on the science. Well, I've just laid out for you, there's the science.
Yeah.
From day one on the planet, human beings have communicated their feelings toward one another through music. One tribe would beat on drums, let the other tribe know, do not mess with us. We don't know you. We don't trust you. Stay away. And that was our first use of music, or when we're celebrating. There's a totally different sound coming from those same drums when you are celebrating than when you are warning people, stay away.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Would you believe that there are 17 movies with no soundtrack? 17 movies, no soundtrack. One of the latest ones was The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds.
Oh.
Even silent movies had a soundtrack. Someone was in the front beating that piano, right? Playing the piano, telling you, hey, this is what we want you to think about what you're watching. So that's what Melody Clouds is about. If you're sad and don't want to be, come here. I can help you change your mood. You see on the sign, take charge of your mood. Yeah. That's what we're about. That's what we're trying to do.
This is really amazing. So I want to hear, because I know that part of your journey also was you discovered the power of binaural beats. You started looking for company, you started looking at subscription services that offered different sounds for you to use. What prompted you to start your own, to start Melody Clouds? What were you not finding? What was the market differentiator? What was
It wasn't what I wasn't finding. It's what I was finding.
Okay.
What I was finding is I started doing the investigation and realized what it would cost for someone to build, a network the way Melody Clouds. We have over 8,000 hours of binaural beats. Wow. We have 18,000 audiobooks. Some people like reading books. Some people like being read to. Lullabies, 800 hours of lullabies to help mothers train their children to self-soothe. Aesop's fables. I have, under my direction, the DJ is in the Hall of Fame. Gary Meyer, very dear friend of mine, awesome guy. Reading Aesop's fables, those stories that give life lesson. You remember them, I remember them, but I couldn't find them anywhere. So when I started looking, find a service that did what I needed, I found them, but they were $30 a month, $50 a month. And that to me, I was like, whoa, you are leaving out a large number of people here that really they could use the help more than the people that have the money to afford that. Because it seems like to me, if you've got $50 to spend on a service, your focus is pretty good. I mean, you got pretty good focus. So that was the catalyst. My wife was just like, she saw me rage around the house for weeks because I couldn't find a service that was not cheap. Nothing about Melody Clouds is cheap.
Right.
But inexpensive and fairly priced. Fairly priced. Reason number 2. So today we released our iOS app. So I get to share that with you. And I am so glad that I get to share that with you.
I'm going to download it as soon as we're off this call.
Right, I hope you do. I hope you do. It's awesome. I mean, I am so proud of this app. Now, one of the things you're going to notice, hopefully you notice right away, is not only do I not collect any of your information, that's a big thing right now. People are very concerned about their information going out into the internet. Okay. So not only do I not collect your information, but I block others from accessing your information while you're using my app.
Nice.
That's a big deal to me.
That is a big deal. Yeah.
And so I hope that people, when they download Melody Clouds, when they are using Melody Clouds, they know I am not interested in anything other than their well-being and their focus and their happiness. And I think offering 60-day trial for $2.99,
wow,
$2.99.
Wow.
And then, well, once you love it, then I ask you $5.99 per month.
Oh my gosh.
To partner with me. I know. Yeah. I know. My wife said the same thing. Listen, that's plenty.
But there is a thing about economies of scale, because I could see, you might be doing some of this already, but I could see partnering with hospital systems, with wellness clinics.
100%.
I have a client who I have to introduce you to when we get off this call who has hyperbaric oxygen therapy centers. And I'm like, this would be perfect for people who are doing oxygen therapy to improve their health, to have the Melody Clouds in those chambers and be able to pick and choose and improve their mental well-being while they're improving their physical well-being.
Yeah. Two things that are very, very near and dear to my heart. Number one, obviously, are veterans and veterans organizations, and they contact me all the time. And I am extremely happy to share this with veterans that, like myself. That's number one. And number two, I have 3 daughters and a wife. And so we are partnering with WITI, Women in Technology International. So we do a lot of things in conjunction with them, and we're partnering more and more as time goes on, because I think that that's a very solid place to put effort. So yeah, we are definitely all about partnering with drug treatment facilities, veterans, like I said, veterans groups, and any organization that wants to do good for people. Yeah. I am definitely interested in speaking to.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just got released on iOS. Before that, you had a website. It was available via website.
Oh, yeah, we still have the website. It's awesome. I mean, we have melodyclouds.com that people can go and see my ugly mug on melodyclouds.com. There are sample tracks on there. So just in case someone wants to kind of try it and take a look. And all of our podcasts that we've appeared on, you'll find them there where I explain exactly what it is you're getting. And we've got, some really great friends that we're very happy to kind of make people more aware of. So we're in 210 languages right now.
Amazing.
We have subscribers in 140 countries.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a dead sprint from the time I decided, hey, look, I'm going to buy the domain, and that's what we're moving for.
Well, talk about that a little bit, please, because you started this in 2018. So how did you find the audience? How did you engage with all these customers in all these different countries? How did you choose what languages you wanted to be in?
Technology is awesome. I mean, every single person that's listening to this has that at their fingertips.
Yeah.
Google is awesome when it comes to translating the website that I have right now, looking at it in Croatian, for example, or looking at it in Turkish. You have to think big from jump. It's fine to think small or to do small things. That's great. But figuring out, okay, listen, there is a much bigger world than in my immediate community. Mm-hmm. There's a much bigger world outside of my state and outside of my country. And there are people who need me just as badly in Mexico or Chile or Czechoslovakia as in Cleveland or Provo or LA.
Right.
So those type of things for me to think about, that's really what kind of spurred me in that direction. But technology, take advantage of technology.
Nice. Yep. So when we're on Google, you had your website. So did you do a lot of SEO work? Did you do PR? Did you do digital advertising? What kind of strategies? And I'd love to hear about this. And then also strategies that you might have used in other companies. Or did you kind of have this formula of this has worked for my other companies? This is what's going to work for this one?
Well, it's funny that you say this. By the way, I love you because those are really good questions.
Thank you.
So when COVID hit, okay, whenever we went to COVID, I worked for a luggage company. It wasn't my company. I worked for a luggage company. And of course, when they said no travel, that meant people were not going to be buying luggage. We were the first ones hit. I helped that company get their PPP funding. So nobody had to lose their job. Unfortunately, the next day after handing over that money, everybody lost their job. He decided to keep that money and just move everybody out. So I came home with a house payment with 3 girls, the same as the day before.
Yeah.
But what I did not have was a job, and I did not have a source of income. So I knew very quickly, okay, these are the things that I need to do. And mistakes, oh my God, I made so many mistakes along the way. Probably my next book is going to be, hey, don't be a dummy, and my face on the thing. I should have been thinking about things much better than I did. But every single one of those things kind of led me to where we are today.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for that. But yes, my position at that company was e-commerce and SEO.
Nice. Okay.
And so that led me to some of the other businesses that I operate. And it also gives me a great deal of insight of who my customer is, who actually touches and really is interested. And it gives me a very good starting point because now I can target and retarget and do lookalike audiences and build my subscribers at a rate that others who are not doing that, they'll never touch.
Yeah.
They'll never, ever come close to that.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. So how are you yourself using binaural beats today? Do you put your headphones on when you're trying to focus on work? Because you said there is a zone. There's like an act when people talk about the zone, there's an actual
I know
zone.
the address. I knock on the door to the zone every single day. And yes, of course I do. But for me, this is where it started to be impacting, right? So when things get a little too loud for me, of course, I'll put the headphones in. I've got 3 or 4 tracks that bring me to silence and let me really rest and refresh myself. The second thing is, though, when I go to bed at night, this doesn't turn off necessarily at the same time. So I will lay there, and you've probably had this experience yourself, where there's a race going on in your head. Oh, I got to do this tomorrow. I got to do that tomorrow. I got to the other, right?
Yeah.
Well, one of the great things about binaural beats is I have tracks that will drop me like a sack of potatoes.
Ooh.
And I mean, there are tracks on Melody Clouds I've only listened to about 15 seconds of the track. That's how quickly it will put me out.
Sign me up for that.
Right? Yeah. And this is what really sold me that this was actual science and I wasn't experiencing some nonsense. I can give you a list of frequencies that work for me. That does not mean that those same frequencies are going to work for you. You have to suss out which frequencies work well for you and for your brain. Now, why is that important? It's the same thing that happens when your doctor prescribes a medication to you and monitors you. Why does he monitor you? Because it may not work. It may not be what exactly you need to get over whatever ailment you're having.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And that was shocking to me. And it was very important light bulb moment. Okay, this is real. Because it meant that not every single human being is going to have the same reaction to this that I did.
Yeah.
And so I need to find lists of frequencies. Those frequencies do certain things, and certain people use certain frequencies and others use other frequencies. Just like some people use a little blue pill, other people it's, pink polka dots or whatever it is. Well,
Well, to that point, I think about white noise or when people listen to the sound of the ocean. I found that brown noise is what works for my brain to help me shut off and go to sleep. Not white noise, not blue noise, not gray noise, whatever else. It has to be brown noise. And that's what works for me. But for other people, all those different frequencies work differently. Can you talk a little bit about, you have to wear headphones when you're listening to this?
Not anymore.
Okay. So please,
so
please
you can train yourself, right? You can train yourself. At least I have been able to.
Yeah.
There's two things. One, solfeggio frequencies. Okay. We haven't talked about those yet.
Yeah.
So very important that I do because I like this man's name. 11th century monk named Guido di Arezzo. Okay. I love that guy's name. He observed that even if we're not musically inclined, you and I have a very similar ability. You can hear someone singing off key, just like me, and tell, oh, that's a bad singer. We could get 100,000 people in a stadium, everyone key in on Whitney Houston singing, the Star Spangled Banner, and all of us look at one another simultaneously and go, oh, wow, right? We're all in agreement. Very few people, they may say, well, I don't like it for whatever reason, but they have to recognize, man, that was someone who could sing.
Yeah.
That's solfeggio. That is the ability to see when things are out of tune. Or let's say you and I walk into my niece's recital. She's going to play the violin. She's a beginner. She's not very good. We're in for a rough night because she's going to hit a lot of sour notes. It's going to be, oh, yeah, baby, you did great. But believe me, it was horrific to everyone sitting in there. That's solfeggio. That is our ability to know when something is out of tune. There's something off. And it's important to bring those solfeggio frequencies back to people, perfectly tuned. Everything is fine, very relaxing. And two things. Number one, I was surprised to learn this. Some people do not like music.
Oh.
There are people out there who do not like music, but great, because some people like nature sounds. They like listening to nature sounds as they go to sleep. Just recently, I was in Cabo San Lucas, and I am used to a certain amount of traffic, California. Right. I am a very urban or suburban, life, right? And so I was missing, it was too quiet. So I got my phone and I was able to recreate my environment in Rancho Cucamonga in Cabo San Lucas. And that's really what we're doing with Melody Clouds as well. You can go into Melody Clouds, you can recreate whether you like to hear the rainfall, whether you like to hear an ocean environment, crickets, or an owl hooting. You are able to recreate that environment that helps you relax and helps you get to sleep. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that really
and definitely
is.
Worth $5.99 a month.
Yes, definitely worth $5.99 a month. Oh my gosh. I'm super excited by what you've put together. And also, I want to acknowledge, because a lot of people, I think, who have experienced tinnitus don't have as positive an outlook as you have. I think a lot of times it really affects mental health, which then affects physical, affects the ability to have conversations. And you have this light and this exuberance that comes through that I can tell is completely genuine. Like, you love life and you're putting everything into it. And the fact that you're now putting this out for people so that everybody else can also experience. They might not have the same thing that you have, but we all have our own whatever is going on, right? So being able to experience over 8,000 hours of meditations and beats and solfeggio and over 17,000 audiobooks.
18,000 and counting.
Now? Okay.
18,000 and counting. Yeah. And they're all by chapter, all the classics. Look, you hit the nail right on the head. In doing the research and really seeing whether or not this was going to be a business, and there were moments where it was a question whether or not I was going to push forward with this. One of the stories that really struck me was a founder of a very popular restaurant chain took his own life. And in that note to his family, he listed tinnitus as the cause. Couldn't take one more minute of the sound going on in his head, and no one was able to help him. Really, what you're listening to is the damage that you've done to those nerves.
Okay.
So much like if you pluck a guitar string, that reverberation, that damage has a manifestation in a whooshing or a ringing. And look, you can make it worse. I drink a lot of caffeinated beverages, coffee, Diet Coke. I mean, there are things that you can do to make it worse for yourself. I've had to cut way back on all that. You probably can't tell because I still increase my energy, but you just have to figure out for yourself, because there's no cure. I'm not saying that binaural beats are your cure. What I'm saying is you can treat it. You can kind of lessen the ramifications. You can lessen that for yourself with the product that I have. My Melody Clouds definitely does that for a lot of people.
Amazing.
And increase focus. I've been contacted by a lot of truck drivers, mothers that had no idea what real focus, how to really focus on something.
Yeah.
You're taking a long trip and you put in one of the binaural beats for focus. I promise you, you're going to be way fresher. You're going to feel way more relaxed and in tune with the things going on around you. And when you end that journey, you are not going to feel as tired as you normally do for a drive like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's really cool. So I usually ask what's next, but we know, it just came out on the app. So it's all approved in the app stores. And where do you see it going from here? Just expand.
So what's next is very easy for me to say. Talking to more people and explaining to them the benefits of this, right?
Yep.
And kind of convincing people, hey, look, we're going nowhere except to help more people. We're expanding. Right now, we're in 210 languages. I would like to see that expand more. I would definitely like to see us move into other countries that we have not been to yet. There are 8,000 episodes of old time radio. Here's another first that I'm telling you. So 8,000 episodes of old time radio, The Shadow, The Whistler. I don't know if you're old enough, but I am definitely old enough I was in love in my teens. I was in love with listening to these old time radio programs. And the reason was because I could do it. I could listen to it while I was doing my homework and I didn't have to watch a screen and I already had poor focus. So I could listen to The Shadow. I could listen to Burns and Allen or The Great Gildersleeve. I became very familiar with all of those old time radio shows. It developed in me a sense of imagination because the whole thing wasn't being given to me. I had to add to it. And so I wanted that back. I wanted to be able to give that to my kids who now love them. Everywhere we go, my youngest is like, hey, don't turn the radio on. I would rather listen to The Shadow or The Twilight Zone or The Outer Limits or whatever. She can't even make it up her mind sometimes. So that to me is, that's next. I want to educate people or help people find out about this.
Yep.
And help as many people as I can.
Well, and for those who are listening who might have a book, an audiobook, something that they would like to pitch to you, do you take pitches from people to say, 100%. Hey, I think this would add
100% I do. Yeah. And look, I am also open to people coming to me and giving them some advice or helping them. I do it right now. I coach a number of people. I have people that come to me and say, hey, look, I don't know Google Analytics extremely well.
Yeah.
Can you show me how this works? Or can you point me in the direction of getting some of that education? Wayne Altman at Melody Clouds. That's how you get in touch with me. My phone number is on the website. My wife thinks I'm an imbecile for doing that. But hey, guess what? Every single person that goes to that website means something to me. I do feel that I absolutely owe society a debt. I think we all do, but I feel that. And I want people to understand that Melody Clouds is not something like a get rich quick. It's not something that I'm expecting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not what this is about. I could charge $45 a month like everybody else does. And, we'll just leave it there.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're changing lives one person at a time. And that compounds. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next, to learning more. We're going to have to do a part 2 down the road to fit in all the other things.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Wayne, do you have a favorite quote or mantra or verse that you live by that you'd like to share with us?
Yes. I tell my daughters they need to take their hands off their plate. You take your hands off your plate. No one can put more on your plate. No one can bless you more. No one can do anything if you're being protective. If you're trying to keep what's yours, and you're not sharing with others, that makes it very difficult for someone else to put their addition to help you with what they're doing. And so my advice to you would be, number one, do not ever take it out of your vocabulary. You know what I mean? I have a very hard time hearing, and I hope other people will get that, right? Mm-hmm. The second thing is take your hands off your plate. I mean, don't miss out on what other people can bring to you and can help you out with. Those would be the 2 takeaways, I would think. Look, I try and do that where it's not just a euphemism.
Right.
Where it's not just a, toss away thing.
Yeah. Awesome. I love your energy. I'm so thrilled that we had this conversation. I know that the audience will get a lot out of it. We'll have the links for your website and for Melody Clouds, awesome, for everything in the show notes. And Wayne, thank you so much for your time today and for sharing this really great information that will help us all as entrepreneurs learn better how to focus our time and intention and move through the world a little bit more deliberately.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And to the audience, thank you for listening to another amazing expert guest. I'll be back again in a few days. Can't wait to hear you and see you then. Want more? Check out amplifywithannika.com or follow me on socials at amplifywithannika.